All right, here we go. Let's go ahead and break it down. A little bit of hockey slasher film on Halloween. Listen, there's nothing to laugh about, nothing to joke about. As a first responder, I have seen somebody have their neck slit, literally look like two jugs of, like if they had 2-gallon jugs of blood, they just poured it out all over the concrete. Absolutely disturbing and disgusting. This event where Adam Johnson had his neck slit at the skates of Matt Petgrave, it is going to change the way people feel about hockey forever, no doubt. Listen, my name is Eric Tansey with the Fair to Stop podcast channel. We are a podcast channel for police, for first responders. It's not necessarily about first responders. It's for them. It's giving you all that information, all the stuff that you need to know so that you don't look like an idiot in front of all the civilians. I'm giving you something else to talk about other than dead babies and domestic violence. If you jump on the Twitters and the X's and the YouTubes, everybody is talking about this event, and people want to know from a law enforcement perspective what my thoughts are on this thing. I'm not a hockey guy. Probably watched 15 minutes of hockey my whole life. Not a hockey guy. But as a police officer, when I saw this, when you guys made me watch this horrific film, which scared the shit out of me, I'm glad my kids don't play hockey. I ended up calling some hockey coaches back in my former days of podcasting on a tailgating show for the Drinking Bros Network. I have some contacts, some hockey podcasters. So I started calling people and learning as much about this as I could before I came out and made a video like this. Let me show you the clip as we go through here. Here is just, this is a 2-second clip, right? But I think it's important to show it to you now. It's in a short burst because I don't want YouTube's to kick me off. I'm going to show this in a couple of short bursts, and then we're going to talk about, we'll break it all down. In the meantime, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, help us out. Here we go. Here's the video. Shabwam. I know that was quick. Let's play it 3 more times for you. Man in red, shabwam. Now watch this. On this next time I play it, watch his leg come in and then his leg extend out in a kicking motion, kind of like a Bruce Lee karate kick there. Here it goes. Shigabang. Let's go one more time. Shabang. Absolutely disgusting. Now, what's horrific about this is that it resulted in a man's death. I used to play rugby, very violent sport, but very friendly sport. Hockey's the same way, as I've come to understand it. Very friendly, yet very violent. And nobody at the end of the day wants to see anybody die. And before we get into this, do I think right now Matt Petgrave wanted Adam Johnson to die? Absolutely not. Let's look at it from a law enforcement perspective. Okay. Right now, let me give you a couple perspectives. Again, I'm a C student. You don't have to agree with me. Hit me in the comments with what you think and where you think my perspective is flawed, but please don't hold me against my opinion. Right? We can have a discussion. I don't need you're so stupid. You're such an idiot. You're a fool. No, this is just how, from what I know about the game, from what I know about life, this is what I perceive this to be. That's all. I'm up for argument. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I've been wrong before on a few times. I'm not afraid to admit it. Here's my perspective in this. Let's go with football, because I think I understand football a little bit more, and it relates to policing. If this was a police officer involved in this, this would be my argument for the police officer. Let's talk about linebackers, because they're coming from the outside. I'm not going to talk about the lineman who's face to face with the quarterback. That's a little different. But let's talk about the linebacker that's set up for a blitz. All right, so he's going to come from the outside, and the quarterback's going to fade back, and he's going to bring the ball up, and he's going to throw it. But before he throws it, the linebacker says, he's got the ball, and I'm going to get him. And so he sets his brain sets his body into a series of events that are going to prepare him for a collision. He's going to drop his weight low. His head's going to come up. He doesn't want to lower his head. He's going to keep his head. He's going to look past the opponent because he's going to blow through him. His head is going to go to either the left side or the right side of the quarterback, depending on which leg he's going to start the tackle on. He's going to drive his leg forward. He's going to take his arms out, but not too wide, but just wide enough, because he doesn't want the quarterback to know that it's coming. So he keeps his arms just wide enough to make that tackle. And then he comes in, he hits the guy, and he drives through him, and he takes him to the ground, only to realize that the quarterback doesn't have the ball anymore. And maybe in a lot of cases, he knew that the quarterback didn't have the ball, but his body was already set in motion to make that collision. And there have been times in rugby where the guy has pitched the ball out, and I have smoked him. And I knew in that moment, I said, shit, bam, and I collided with him. but you can't pull back. It's like trying to stop a semi-truck. It's not going to happen. And a lot of times these linebackers will come in, they'll go through all of these things, and the body can't bring that back. It's already been decided. And it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. There was a time in law enforcement where I had a man, he had a gun in his waistband. I threw him down on the ground. I just started punching him in the face. Drop the gun, drop the gun. My partner was wrestling the gun out of his waistband, going, it's in his waistband, it's in his waistband. And I was just punching him. And the guy looked at me as I had one more blow come down, his head bounced off the concrete, and he said, I'm done. And I got him again. His eyes rolled in the back of his head, did a little shake. He was completely out cold. We got the gun out of his waistband. For 2 days, I thought about that. I'm done. As my fist cracked down on his face again, I said, boy, it's not going to look good. That is not going to look good. And when he does his little convulsion after he's been knocked out, that's not going to look good. I hope that doesn't look terrible. I hope I don't pay for that. 2 days later, I get called into an office. They're all there. And you know how this goes as a law enforcement. You know what's coming. Everybody's looking at you. You know what I mean? You're like, damn. And I sat down because for 2 days I had replayed that moment in my brain over and over again. And I said, man, everything was perfect except that last punch. And when I got in there, they showed me the videotape because they wanted to break down what happened, as any good supervisor would do. We begin to break down the clip, and it gets to the point where he says, I'm done, as my fist makes contact with his face, and it looks great. There was no way to stop that punch. It was, so in my brain, it was a lot longer. In my brain, it was like, I'm done, and I rear back and I hit him. But in real time, it was, I'm done. It was almost as my fist hit him in the face as he says, I'm done. And what they said after that was, why didn't you shoot that guy? He had a gun in his waistband. You identified the gun in his waistband. You told him not to reach for the gun. He reached for the gun, and you slammed him to the ground, and you punched him 10 or 11 times while your partner tried to wrestle the gun out of his waistband. What if you broke your hand on that first punch? What if while wrestling for the gun, your partner was shot in the stomach? You'd feel like shit, wouldn't you, Eric? Why didn't you shoot him? Why did you rely on punching? This was a deadly force situation. Completely different outcome. So we see things different in the moment. I want to play this kick for you, and I want you to keep that in mind, that what if, just what if, he's in the air and he's like, get off me. And he doesn't think in that split second of get off me that I have a blade attached to my boot. He doesn't realize in the heat of the moment, with all the aggression, the testosterone, the getting smacked by the guy in front of him, the impending collision that was going through his brain. There's so many things I'm sure were going through this guy's mind as he brought that foot up to kick him. And he says, get off me. Oh no. Oh no. Because do I think after watching this that he kicked him? Yeah, he kicked him. But I don't know that it's I don't know if I'm at the level of, I'm going to cut this dude's head off. No. Change the facts, change the outcome. Let's say before the game, we get evidence or we hear testimony from some of the other players. He says, I'm going to take this motherfucker out today. I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to go after this guy. Well, now I believe it's malice and we have, bad intent. But in this moment, I think he was gliding through the air and this guy was coming down upon him and he was like, get off me. Oh shit. Now, let's talk about the law as it pertains to the UK for manslaughter. There's 4 different degrees of manslaughter. Negligence, gross negligence. I think that gets you like 12 years. They've got a thing called diminished responsibility that can serve you up to 18 to 24 years. With all of these things, with the facts that I have right now, I don't want to see this guy go away for 12 years. I don't want to see some kind of custodial punishment for the next 12 to 24 years to this guy on something that happened. I wouldn't want it for the cop. I wouldn't want, if this was a cop, I would say the same thing. Remember, these guys are professional athletes. They're at the top of their game. They know how to skate. They know how to control themselves. That's why I'm not going to say that he didn't mean to flail his leg. I don't think this was just a flailing leg freak accident. I think he kicked him. But I don't think he kicked him in the heat of, I'm going to take this dude's head off. I think it was a get back. And maybe in that split second, he was like, no. because he saw that blade hit him in the neck. I think it was very wise of him to come out as quickly as he did. Matt Petgrave to come out and give that statement that he gave, that he's distraught. And there's a lot of rumor in the news that he has a history of violence. Listen, it's hockey. It's hockey. You got to make a name for yourself. It's a violent sport. Some of the best cops that I've ever worked with have the most uses of forces. Some of the best football players have some of the most penalties. Look at Dennis Rodman, basketball even. Just because you have a lot of penalties doesn't make you a bad guy. Doesn't make you, just because you're aggressive, doesn't make you a bad person. I've seen this happen in soccer, right? They go for the ball, but there's nowhere. They don't come anywhere near the ball. Taking out the guy's legs. Sometimes you just got to take a dude out. I don't think anybody aims to murder them, to kill them. So I don't think, I'm not at the point where I say Matt Petgrave manslaughtered, grossly negligently killed this guy. I think in the heat of the moment, he did want to get him. He did want to make a defensive maneuver. I think he was flying through the air, and I think this guy was coming up onto him, and he was like, "Get off me, bitch." Oh no. Oh no. Honestly, that's where I'm at on this. I unless I have more evidence as it comes out. How do you guys like this content? I know that we do so many shows a week, 5 shows a week. But what I've heard all this weekend at the last meetup was, we want more current events. We love your take on current events. We'd like to hear more of it. This is my attempt at giving you more without making you go to Patreon. Now, if you want to join our Patreon, we have so much content over on Patreon, interviews with everybody. We just had a great meetup in Jacksonville, Florida with Ken Shamrock and the boys. We had Dennis from Street Cop Training last week. I'm actually going to... I'm not allowed to say. I'm going to do a top secret area to meet up with some of the guys from the underground child prostitution, sex ring folks. They're going to talk to me about some stuff, but I'm not allowed to say where that's going to be. I'm not even sure if I'll be able to give their names. I might have to be blocking their voices or anything, but I will be traveling on the road on Thursday to interview some of these guys from the underground. I think they call it the Underground Railroad, actually, for child sex rings. I'll learn more about it this week before I go. It's actually the following week. I don't want to say when I'm going here, but if you like what we do here on the Failure to Stop podcast channel, we are the #1 channel where first responders go to informed and entertained podcasts for audio, so you never have to listen to the radio again. Now, the YouTube stuff, new in the last 7 months, trying to work out the YouTube, trying to see what works and what doesn't, what you guys want to see and what you don't want to see. So I encourage you to leave some comments on this. Fight with me back and forth. Let's go. Do you like the content? Do you hate the content? Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Sleep so good, it's scary. We'll see you guys for tonight's live True Crime Tuesday with Jay Rama and Jonathan Bates. Until then.